SoFi management gave SoFi stock investors a very optimistic look into their future prospects, telling investors they think earnings per share are going to soar over the next several years. So I wanted to incorporate that and give a forecast into where I think SoFi stock could be in the year 2027. So I'm going to make a SoFi stock prediction in this video here. So let's jump into the numbers. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. All right, so one of the assumptions I'm going to need to make this prediction is the current share price. SoFi stock trading at $7.67 as of this recording. Additionally, I need that outlook that management gave, that forecast for earnings. And in their January 29 conference call, management told investors that the earnings power associated with the growth is notable and could drive between 55 cents and 80 cents in per share gap in 2026. Moreover, we see 20 to 25% earnings per share growth beyond 2026, a robust outlook to be sure. Now, when I'm making my forecast, I'm going to use the most optimistic scenario from this forecast. I'm going to use the 80 cents per share EPS, so the highest end of this range. Management said between 55 cents and 80 cents. I'm going to assume 80 cents. Moreover, management said between 20% and 25% growth. I'm going to assume 25% growth. So another thing I'm going to need to make this forecast is SoFi's forward price to earnings valuation ratio. According to this metric, SoFi is trading at a forward PE of 21.83. And I've brought in some comparisons here, other financial services / banks and their valuations. Visa is trading at a forward price to earnings of 25, the most expensive of this bunch, but I think Visa deserves that. That's a whole nother story. Visa is my top recommended dividend stock to buy in 2024. If you want to see that video, I'll link to it at the end of this channel. Visa is the most profitable company out of any company that I follow. It's an incredible business, deserves the valuation. The next one lower to SoFi is Block, trading at a forward price to earnings of 17, which I also think is a bargain. I have Block stock recommended as a buy. And then PayPal trading at a forward price to earnings of 10.38, which I also think is a bargain. I have PayPal stock rated as one of my top stocks to buy in 2024. Bank of America is the cheapest of the bunch, trading at a forward price to earnings of 9.678. I don't have an opinion on Bank of America stock one way or another. I just wanted to bring it in just to give some perspective in terms of valuation compared to SoFi's forward price to earnings of 21.83. Okay, so now let's look at the forecast. If we assume the 80 cents per share forecast that management gave here, 80 cents in 2026, okay, and we assume 25% growth for 2 years, you can see the formula up here, 0.8 times 1 plus the 0.25 to the power of 2. That gives me the forecasted earnings per share in 2028 of $1.25. And that's the forecasted earnings per share I'm going to use for 2028. Remember, when you're using a forward price to earnings ratio, you're getting a valuation 1 year ahead. So if I want to value the stock in 2027, I need the earnings per share in 2028. And that's what I have here. I have the earnings per share estimate for 2028 to make my stock price prediction for 2027. That's the number I have there. Okay, $1.25. Additionally, I have this price to earnings 21.83, which is the number I got from SoFi here, forward price to earnings 21.83. I'm bringing that in. And according to this most optimistic scenario, because remember, I took the highest estimate for earnings per share, I took the highest estimate for growth rate, and I'm assuming the PE stays the same, SoFi's stock price could rise to $27.29 in 2027. That would be a nearly 4x increase from where SoFi stock is today. Remember, SoFi stock right now is trading at a price of $7.67. I think SoFi stock investors would be happy with that return. If I was a SoFi stock investor, which I am not, I do not own SoFi stock, I would be happy with those returns. In fact, I would be thrilled with those returns. Unfortunately, for me, I don't think this is the most likely scenario. I really don't. Because remember, I use the most optimistic scenario for earnings per share and the most optimistic scenario for the growth rate. Further, the valuation of 21.83, I'm not so sure if the forward price to earnings remains at this level in that year. Right now, it might be higher because SoFi is growing the top line and earnings per share, and the outlook is robust. But if we fast forward to the year 2027, is management going to predict similar growth rates for the next 3 years, the next 5 years? Because from where we're sitting today, the outlook for the next 3 years is really good, right? 20 to 25% earnings per share growth on top of the already multiples expanded earnings per share over the next few years, all the way up to 80 cents per share. And SoFi only in the most recently updated quarter achieved profitability on the bottom line. So they're going from their first ever quarter of profit on the bottom line to now forecasting significant growth in earnings per share for the next several years. So the optimism is very high for SoFi. It's really high right now for SoFi. Will it be the same 3, 4, 5 years from now? Will it be the same when we fast forward to 2027? Will the outlook going forward the next few years, will it be as strong as the outlook is today? I'm not so sure. So what if the price to earnings were to fall to 18 instead of 21.83? In that case, SoFi stock price could be $22.50. Still, that would be a nice increase, almost triple the current value of SoFi stock right now. But what if the price to earnings were to fall to 15? Again, that would be more than double where SoFi stock is now, and that would rise to $18.75, up from $7.67. Again, if I was a SoFi stock investor, I would be happy with that return. And finally, what if the price to earnings were to fall to 12? In that case, SoFi stock price could roughly double to $15 per share in 2027 from $7.67 where it's currently trading at. So in all of these scenarios we looked at, all of the valuations are significantly higher than where SoFi stock is currently trading at. That was kind of deliberately done because remember, I took the most optimistic scenario from the earnings per share outlook from management and the most optimistic growth rate from management. Okay, so I took those numbers on the most optimistic side. So in my forecast, in my stock price prediction, I'm going to offset that very optimistic scenario from management by taking a pessimistic scenario from the market. And the market is judged by the valuation, the price to earnings. That's the sentiment. That means that reflects what the market is willing to pay for SoFi stock. So I'm going to suggest a forward price to earnings of 12 in 2027 and suggest that SoFi stock price could be somewhere around $15 to $16 per share in 2027. That would be roughly double to where SoFi stock is currently trading at. And that if I was a SoFi stock investor, I would be very happy with those returns. But remember, there was a lot of assumptions and estimates used, and I took the most optimistic scenario from management. So I kind of offset that by taking the scenario here. But you've seen all of the numbers I used in this forecast and the estimates that I made. You can take these numbers and make your own estimates and make your own forecast to determine where you think SoFi stock price could be in 2027. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.